The first person to lose emotional control has already begun to lose the battle. Few people understood this more deeply than Sun Tzu. For centuries, readers have focused on his strategies, formations, and battlefield tactics. But beneath every military principle lies a quieter lesson. The greatest weapon was never the sword, it was emotional discipline. An inexperienced commander sees an insult as a challenge. He feels compelled to respond immediately. His pride whispers that delay looks like weakness. His anger blinds him to the terrain. His fear shortens his vision. And before the battle even begins, his emotions have already begun making decisions on his behalf. The greatest strategists refused to give their opponents that advantage. They became emotionally invisible. No expression revealed their intentions. No provocation altered their rhythm. No insult dictated their timing. Because the moment your enemy discovers what makes you angry, they no longer need to overpower your body. They only need to manipulate your mind. Modern psychology describes this through emotional triggers. Every person carries invisible buttons. A criticism about intelligence, a challenge to competence, a feeling of rejection, a threat to status. Most people believe they are responding freely. In reality, they're reacting predictably to patterns shaped over years. Manipulative people instinctively search for these weaknesses, sometimes consciously, often without realizing it. They notice what makes your voice rise, what makes your breathing change, what causes you to explain yourself too much. The moment they identify your trigger, they possess a map of your behavior. But someone who cannot be emotionally manipulated becomes something far more difficult to confront: unpredictable. And unpredictability creates power. Not because people fear what you'll do, but because they can no longer control what you'll do. Imagine someone repeatedly tries to provoke you during a conversation. They expect irritation. Instead, they receive curiosity. They expect defensiveness. Instead, they receive silence. Suddenly, their strategy collapses. Without predictable reactions, they no longer know which move comes next. History offers countless examples of this principle. Imagine two generals standing on opposite sides of a valley before a decisive battle. One is young, brilliant, respected, but ruled by pride. The other is older, patient, almost impossible to read. Before sunrise, a messenger rides across the battlefield, carrying an insult from the younger commander's rival. The words are carefully chosen, not to communicate, to provoke. They question his courage, his honor, his reputation before his own soldiers. The young general explodes with anger, without waiting for scouts, without studying the terrain, without allowing his officers to advise him. He orders an immediate attack. His army surges forward in perfect confidence, exactly as his opponent expected. Across the valley, the older commander does nothing. He watches, he waits, he studies the movement of every unit. He notices exhaustion replacing confidence, disorder replacing formation, emotion replacing discipline. Hours pass. The impatient army burns its strength, chasing an enemy that refuses to react. Only when the ground, the weather, and the enemy's fatigue align perfectly does the older commander finally move. The counterattack is swift, precise, decisive. From a distance, it appears that one general defeated another, but the deeper victory happened long before the first soldier advanced. The greatest victory wasn't over the enemy, it was over the commander's own emotions. That lesson extends far beyond battlefields. Imagine someone insults you online. They question your intelligence, mock your opinions, attack your character. Most people respond immediately. One comment becomes another. Minutes become hours. The argument consumes an entire evening. Nothing changes, except their peace of mind. Now imagine another response. You read the comment, you feel the emotional impulse, then you close the app, you go for a walk. Hours later, you return. The urgency has disappeared. The need to prove yourself no longer exists. And suddenly you realize something surprising. The argument never deserved your attention in the first place. Refusing an immediate reaction isn't weakness, it's emotional independence. It means your inner world is no longer controlled by strangers. The same principle appears in professional life. Imagine you're negotiating an important contract. Without warning, the client becomes aggressive. Their tone sharpens. They criticize your proposal. Most professionals immediately begin defending themselves. They speak faster, explain more, try desperately to regain control. A psychologically disciplined person does the opposite. They learn to control their impulses when no one was watching. That is where real self-control is born, not in moments of triumph, not when life is easy, but in the ordinary moments that nobody notices. A decision made in silence, a temptation quietly resisted, a promise kept when breaking it would be effortless. These are the invisible moments that shape extraordinary lives. Modern culture celebrates dramatic transformations, one breakthrough, one life-changing decision. But psychology tells a quieter story. Human character is built through thousands of ordinary decisions repeated over time. One of the most important ideas in modern psychology is delayed gratification. The ability to postpone immediate pleasure for something more valuable later. And the reason it matters is simple. Every time you resist an impulse instead of obeying it, you strengthen your capacity for control. The brain begins adapting to the behavior you repeatedly practice. Self-control is not simply something you either have or don't have. It can be trained, like a muscle. Every conscious decision becomes another repetition. Every impulsive reaction becomes another surrender. Imagine reaching for your phone every few minutes. A notification appears. Your hand moves automatically. Now imagine stopping for 5 seconds before unlocking the screen. Nothing dramatic happens, but something important does. For those 5 seconds, you made the decision, not the habit. That tiny interruption reminds your brain who is actually in control. History offers a remarkable example of this principle. George Washington had just led an army through one of the most extraordinary struggles in modern history. The war was over. His soldiers admired him. His officers trusted him. His influence was enormous. And some believed the new nation needed a king. They encouraged Washington to accept absolute power. For almost anyone else, the temptation would have been extraordinary. He had already earned the loyalty of an army. He had the respect of the country. He could have taken the power being offered to him. Instead, he gave it up. Washington resigned his military command and returned to private life. No conquest, no demand for greater authority, no attempt to make himself indispensable. History remembers him not because he gained unlimited power, but because he knew when not to use it. That is something modern society often forgets. Strength is not always revealed by what you can take. Sometimes it is revealed by what you can refuse. Now bring that principle into your own life. Imagine receiving an angry message late at night. Your first instinct is to answer immediately. Your mind begins constructing the perfect response. Your emotions tell you that silence means weakness. So you put the phone down, you wait until morning. Then you read the message again and ask yourself, would I send the same response if I were completely calm? Most people discover the answer is no. One night of patience can prevent years of regret. Sometimes wisdom is measured by the words you never send. The same battle appears every morning. Your alarm rings. Your mind immediately negotiates. Just 10 more minutes. It sounds harmless, but this moment has almost nothing to do with sleep. It is a battle between your future self and your present impulse. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen trust in your own mind. That is how confidence is built, not through compliments, through consistency. So try something simple for the next 7 days. Choose one impulse every day to consciously resist. Checking your phone, responding to criticism, buying something unnecessary, interrupting someone, complaining, eating because you're bored. When the impulse appears, pause. Take one slow breath, then choose deliberately. Do not ask what feels easiest. Ask what you actually choose. Watch what begins to change. The impulse may still appear, but it will begin to feel less like an order and more like a suggestion. That is the beginning of discipline. Extraordinary discipline is simply thousands of small victories over ordinary impulses. The strongest people are not those who never feel temptation. They feel it. They simply refuse to become servants of it. The world teaches us to conquer others. Philosophy teaches us to conquer ourselves. History remembers those who mastered themselves first. But there is one final lesson. The lesson that separates respected people from truly unforgettable ones. Because the highest level of self-control isn't about controlling your actions, it's about controlling your identity. And once you understand that, no one will ever be able to control your life again.